Hey guys, it's Luke from RetroRevival here, and today I'm going to be doing a video on the N64, the NES and the SNES, and it's going to be my collection of the games and the controllers, because I don't have enough to make individual videos about them, but I thought, tell you what, I'll clump them all into one video and show you all my collection of them. So let's get straight into it. First up is the NES, and this might be one of my favourite controllers of all time. It's got a D-pad here, it's got a select button, a start button, and just a B and A button, and it works really well. And yeah, you see this design on everything, phone cases, tablet cases, loads. So yeah, let's go over my games. First up is my favourite game for the NES, and that is Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt, and they are on a combo cartridge. And my favourite game is Super Mario Bros. Because I love to play it, never gets old, and I'm so close to completing it, it's unreal. But yeah, great game. Up next is what people like to say is the best Mario game, and what they like to say is the best NES game, Super Mario Bros. 3, and I've really got into this recently. I never used to like it, but now I absolutely love it, and it is an absolutely great game. It really does push the boundaries of what Mario could do at the time, and yeah, you definitely have to pick this one up. Up next is quite an underrated NES game, and this is Donkey Kong Classics, and on this, not only do you get the original Donkey Kong game, you also get Donkey Kong Jr., and I only really play this for the original Donkey Kong because it's a very tricky game, and a lot of the games on the NES are very tricky. So if you like Mario and Donkey Kong and you like a challenge, definitely one to get. Up next is the best-selling game of all time, and that is Tetris, and this has been released on multiple different consoles, and I really like it on the NES. It doesn't have the classic music that everybody knows, but yeah, still great. It's still a great game, and it's still a must-have on the NES. As you all know, I love Disney and DuckTales, and this is possibly one of the best Capcom games ever made, and possibly one of the best licensed games of all time. If you haven't got it, it's definitely one to buy because of just how great it is. And there's a really cool mechanic in the game where it means you can boing up and down on a pogo stick, which is actually his Scrooge McDuck's cane, which I think is quite a cool mechanic. But yeah, if it sounds like your thing, grab it. Up next, I'd say, is one of the most underrated games of all time. Yes, it is Nintendo World Cup, and nobody gives this enough praise because everyone's like, oh, it's just a football game. You basically say that all football games are repetitive, and this isn't. It's actually a really fun game. So yeah, I'd definitely get this one. Up next is a classic game, but it's an extremely hard game. Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, or as everyone knows it, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this is actually a very difficult game, and you get to play as the different turtles. And yeah, if you like a challenge, definitely a game for you. And the last NES game is Batman the video game. And if I thought that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a hard game, then this is just off the scale. This is extremely hard, and I've never got past the first level, so I always die on it. But yeah, if you really like a challenge, definitely a great game for you. Next up is the SNES, and some people say this is the best Nintendo console ever made. Personally, I think it's the N64 or the NES. But yeah, it's a great controller, 2 bumpers, and a D-pad, of course, the classic start select, and got 4 buttons on the front. So let's get into the games. First up is my favourite game on the system, and that is Super Mario World. And everybody, if you've got the console, needs to have this game. It's a classic game. I still prefer the ones on the NES more to this, but it's still a great game. Because of course it is, it's Super Mario. But yeah. And then the final SNES game I've got, because I've only got 2, is Super Tennis. And This is a surprisingly good game. It's a lot about timing when you're hitting the ball back and forth. You've got to time it well. So, yeah. Also, there's, of course, the Super Game Boy, which I showed off in the Game Boy video, where you can play Game Boy games on your SNES. But, yeah, I thought I'd add this in. Up next is the N64, and a lot of people don't like this controller. I can understand why. It's quite a clunky controller. It's quite large. It's a weird shape, I'd give you that. And it's got many buttons. It's got 2 on the back here, and the Z button at the back there. But it's a weirdly designed controller, but it doesn't mean it's a bad controller. So I quite like this. I can understand why people don't like it, but personally I like it. So without further ado, let's get on to the games. First game is probably my favourite game on the system, and it's Super Mario 64. I know that I love Mario, but I mean, he's the most iconic games character of all time. How do you not like Mario? But this is the best Mario game they've ever made, I think. And it is so addicting, and you get to go back through the levels, and they change them every time. Yeah, Super Mario 64 is the must-have game for this system. Another must-have game for the system is Pokemon Snap, and this game doesn't get enough credit whatsoever. I absolutely love it. It's basically a rail shooter, and you go around, instead of killing the Pokemon, you take pictures of them. Then Professor Oak judges them, and yeah, you get points. So, definitely a great game. Another must-have game for this system is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Everyone calls it Pod Racer. And this is actually the best thing about The Phantom Menace, I think. And also, guys, there's no Jar Jar Binks in it. Yay! Every Star Wars fan's dream is to not have Jar Jar Binks in the universe. But, you can play as Anakin and some other random characters that nobody cares about. Yeah, so definitely a great game. Yeah. Up next is my favourite PC game of all time, and that is Lego Racers. And for the N64, it's okay, but my favourite thing about this game is the awesome soundtrack. If you haven't heard it, listen to it. It's so catchy. But if you're looking for an alternative to Mario Kart, 'cause it's very expensive, this is quite a good one. The handling can get a bit sloppy at times, but still a really good game and worth your time. Up next is the Rally Edition 99, and right, this is an arcade racer, but when you turn, you kind of, instead of working like a normal car, you kind of go like, oh crap, and just spin off and die every time. I've never won a race in this, because imagine this is a car, it's driving along, and then as soon as you would go over a bump, you just freaking fly everywhere. I may have just killed the cartridge, but yeah, so you're driving along, and then you just die, and yeah. Up next is WrestleMania 2000, and some people say this is the best wrestling game of all time, but some people say it's No Mercy, and I don't have No Mercy, sadly, but to have this, it's okay. I don't know how to get back in the ring, because I suck at it, but yeah. Next up is Rugrats Treasure Hunt, and I'll be honest, the animation in this isn't great, but it's from the 90s, and it's a bit like Mario Party, if I'm going to be honest. So this is an alternative to Mario Party if you're interested, but yeah. I know that some of my friends are going to be happy about this one. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, and some of my friends are addicted to Rainbow Six Siege, and this is the little gem that started it all. And of course it's a shoot 'em up game, it's Tom Clancy's game, so if you're interested, pick it up. Up next is Turok 2 Seeds of Evil, and this is my only boxed game, but I can't really get the box right at the moment. It's tucked away somewhere secure, but if you know what Turok is, great. If you don't, it's basically a dinosaur hunting game, and yeah, it's made by Acclaim, so you know it's going to be good. And yeah, that's all. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. The poll for this week was 50-50 between this and PS2. But on the last poll I did, this got 20% of the vote, and PS2 didn't get any, so this is why I chose this one. There'll be another poll in this video to vote for next week, and yeah, so whatever gets the most, it will be that, unless it's a tie again, and I'll have to go back to the old one to see how many votes it got. But thank you very much for watching this video. I want to know down in the comment section below, what is the best, the N64, the NES, or the SNES? So yeah, comment down below, and yeah, I've been Luke from RetroRevival. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Bye.